report of the night. Was anybody here for Everything Between Us? Come on up. Come on up here. Hello. Here you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, take a seat. Okay, so can you introduce yourself and the role you played in this production?
Yeah, my name is Ilgın, and I'm the writer and director.
Oh, okay. Can we get a round of applause?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm actually going to jump past, I'm going to come back to my first question to even a firster question. Where'd you get that jacket? Or did you make it?
Yeah, the jacket's a good one.
It's
We did not
really
make
cool.
it. We rented it from like a vintage shop.
Naturally.
Found it 2 days before the shoot.
Wow,
So
okay.
really, it was like stars aligning.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's very cool.
And heavily featured it since we were
Yes,
excited about it.
absolutely. Very prominent in the foreground, yeah. Okay, but anyway, back to the important question. Can you tell me about where this project began?
Yeah, the project began actually at the LA River, that's why it's really cool that we get to screen it here. But when I used to live in LA, I would go sit by the LA River quite often in Frogtown, and one day I was just sitting there and I had the thought of like what it would look like if somebody showed up on the other side. I was kind of down and I was like, what if someone showed up on the other side and was like trying to cheer me up, but like anyone who knows the LA River, it's really wide. You can't talk, you can't talk to the person
right,
across.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's where it came from, and I was kind of thinking about how a relationship would develop if you're not necessarily communicating through words, but we could, still feel the presence. And later, I moved back to Istanbul, which is where I'm from, and my producer and I kind of developed it and adapted it to that location, which is a much narrower river.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask about Istanbul. Here in LA, I think everybody here kind of knows the infrastructure of the industry that is here. There's so much cast, there's so many resources you can call for your crew and for your art department and such. What does that infrastructure look like in Istanbul?
That's a really good question. Definitely not like that.
I can imagine, yeah.
It's a very small industry, but I actually think that benefits indie filmmakers because people are down to help out a lot more. This could also be partly Turkish culture, but I also think it's like because the industry is so small and everyone knows each other, they'll be like, oh, I met you once, but like I know someone who can AD on your shoot, and I'll get them in touch, and then you'll have only met once, but then they'll work on. That happened a lot. Like so many of the people that worked on the short, the department heads, they worked for free because they really liked the film, and we only had the budget to pay for their assistants, which is kind of how it goes with like short films and indie stuff there, where it's like you pay the crew who you can, and then people who are make enough money elsewhere to be able to work for free on your stuff do that. And that's kind of how it is. But there is a really cool indie scene. There's basically no funding especially for a queer film. The Turkish government would never fund that. So
naturally. I wanted to ask about some of these strong female relationships here. There's a relationship mother-daughter, the sisters, and then also this like burgeoning relationship with this girl who's across the creek. Was that inspired by some relationships you've had in your own personal life?
Actually, it's more, I'm an only child. I actually don't have any siblings, but I have very, very close friends who do have siblings, and I've heard them talk about their relationship with their siblings, and I am very fascinated by, I don't know what the right term is, but birth order, I guess, like the older sister, younger sister dynamic.
The responsibilities.
Who takes the responsibilities, what that looks like.
The youngest having none whatsoever.
Yeah, right. Or like maybe more of a space to kind of rebel. Because I did have another script that was focused on the eldest daughter, which is, a very specific experience. I mean, being an only child, I guess, kind of mirrors that in a way. But in terms of Yeah, I mean, sometimes people ask me why there are no men in the film, which was not necessarily intentional. I just
That's something I actually didn't notice.
really there's no
I
dad.
didn't.
I
Oh, no, I
mean,
didn't.
there's no dad in the story, and that has nothing to do with my own dad. I
Okay.
just was like, it kind of
Focusing on-
worked.
Just focusing on different relationships.
Yeah, I think especially in Turkish cinema, it really is so male centric and like not just male centric, just like masculine themes and like violent and like I wanted to explore the more tender side of Turkish society and like mother-daughter relationships, like sister relationships, and also this like relationship between the two girls that's like, are they into each other or is it like a friend crush? Because like at that age you never know. So yeah, I just love thinking about that in general. So
And your lead actress, who does such a great job, she is, I would consider a silent protagonist, but she still has such a presence and still communicates so much with her silence. How, as a director, do you approach, coaxing a performance out of an actor like that to be able to communicate silently? It's not an easy task.
yeah, she's incredible. And I actually realized I never answered your question about cast, but she went to my high school. That's how we found her. None of them are film actors. Actually, they're all theater actors. And she was like in the theater club in high school. I got really, really lucky. I mean, she's super talented. In terms of getting the performances, because it's my first short and we only had 3 days to shoot, we did a ton of rehearsal and we talked a lot about the character. She was 16 when we shot this, so she was unusually, like, I guess for a teenager, just like so down to think about the character and research about the character and talk about it and
Depth of emotional intelligence.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Yes, I'm also super jet lagged. Sorry. So yeah, that I think it's a mixture of like we just worked on it for a long time, but also she's just super talented.
Yes, I mean it shows. It shows. And then I don't know. I'm trying to like phrase a question for this, but I mean I've been to Istanbul, and what I loved there was this amazing contrast between like a hyper rebellious youth culture against a very traditional, older generations. Was that also something that you were trying to explore in this film? And can you also just explain for maybe people who don't know about the generational and cultural clashes?
Yeah, that's so cool. First of all, no one's asked me about that before. Metal is super popular in Turkey, and I think that's in a lot of other countries, maybe outside of the West, but yeah, there's like a very, like Megadeth comes once a year and sells out still to this. It's like, it wasn't like a 2000 thing. So I was a metalhead at the time, so were so many other people. So there's definitely a very, like you said, probably a response to the more traditional values, and they're called Satanists, they're called whatever, like there used to be a whole controversy about it back in the 2000s, but
There was here too?
yeah, similarly. And what was the other question? Explaining kind of the
generational clashes.
Yeah, so obviously, this is actually, I mean, there are so many obviously different types of Turkish families. This one in particular, the mom, it is inspired by my own family where, the mom didn't get to have an education, so she's very hard on her children getting a proper education, which is why she's always like on Azra's ass about like getting good grades and like not falling off, and like that happens a lot, like a lot of, I think more in the older generations, like not so much now, but even though there's like good free public education, which now is worse, but a lot of families won't send their girls to school just cause. So I think that's like a little bit of the dynamic in this family. Yeah.
Well, great. Any questions from our audience members here? Anybody, any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.